Good morning. The accused gunman is expected to face 2 federal charges for now in what is just the latest close call for the president. Here's what we know about the suspect, identified as 31-year-old Cole Allen of California. He ran past a Secret Service checkpoint, allegedly, in the hotel lobby and was apprehended unharmed. Investigators say he was armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and a number of knives, and that he was a guest at the Washington Hilton, which has played host to this dinner for decades. Now, in federal court today, we expect at least 2 initial charges: using a firearm during a crime of violence and assault on a federal officer with a dangerous weapon. And, of course, a Secret Service agent was struck in his bulletproof vest, saved by that vest, though. A Washington Post report, meantime, questioned security at the event. When so many officials gather in one place for official functions, such as an inauguration or a State of the Union address, the Secretary of Homeland Security, it typically puts the Secret Service in charge of coordinating all security through a formal designation known as National Special Security Event. There was no such delegation on Saturday night. Now, this follows a number of security incidents for the president. In July of 2024, there was the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Months later, another attempt at Trump International Golf Club in Florida. And then, of course, Saturday's dinner here in Washington. Now, President Trump says this all bolsters his case for a new White House ballroom and pressed for the dinner to be rescheduled in the next 30 days.
If you come at the king, you better get in line. Stand there shaking, waiting for your turn. The media clouds on for the attack, but I stand 6 feet above the ground, because you can't keep a good man down. Come on, take your best shot. Pump my fist, give me what you got. You can't keep a good man down. Come on, take me to my grave. I'll rise again and again and say, you can't keep a good man down. No! You can't keep the good man down. 'Cause you can't keep a good man down.
In America, we don't worship government.
And you can't keep a good man down. And you can't keep a good man down.
We worship God.
Come on, take your best shot. Pump my fist, give me what you got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. From a newly minted studio that we are actively building out right now, I thought I'd have more time this weekend to work on the build, but you know what? We got the backbone and architecture ready, and we are locked in and ready to go. Welcome. I thought I'd have the weekend to work, but we didn't. We had the weekend to record and to cover another assassination attempt on our president. It's getting quite tiresome, and we are going to cover everything today. Are we being lied to again by the Secret Service? Sure as hell seems like it. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. Secret Service failures at the White House Correspondents' Dinner are revealed, and the biggest lie of them all: what is happening with the Secret Service agent who was shot? Was he actually shot in friendly fire? We have to figure this out. This is critical for the protection of the president. I'm not here to dog on the people that are willing to risk and sacrifice their lives for our president, but I am frustrated at the constant failures. I do this out of love, not out of hate, and it is hate that drove the gunman to charge at President Trump and his entire administration. There are at least a dozen administration officials, protectees, White House officers that were inside of that room, and the gunman, Cole Allen, said he was going to slaughter all of them. He said he was going to slaughter the press as well inside of that room because they were simply there. They're the ones who radicalized him. We're going to cover all of it today, and the major lie that Barack Obama is trying to tell right now in order to rig the next election. They know how bad this is for them. We will be speaking with Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, the legend, who's been very frustrated at the Secret Service, and former FBI supervisory agent Ren McEachern, who will join the show to talk about protection of the president. This week, we're going to have wall-to-wall Secret Service agents and federal protection specialists. We want to dig down and get to the very bottom of this. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to glaze it. we are going to actually get to the nuts and bolts and call for changes. Do you think that Delta Force should be protecting the president? I sure as hell think so. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. America first. America financing. You should get your house in order first. Something that we've been critical of on this program for a very long time is that we got to get our own house in order. This country has some messy problems in it. We love this country, and we want to fix it. We want to fix it before we want to fix other countries around the world. It is something that is totally moral to be focused on your own home. Christ himself says, make sure that you get the log out of your own eye before worrying about the specks around the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are getting that log out of your own home, and that would be debt. Debt is what cripples a home, cripples a legacy, cripples your life. It is slavery. I want you to be out of it. Call American Financing, America's home for home loans, at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny gets you out of debt today. Seize that American dream. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have some major breaking news. Kash Patel was on Fox just moments ago. The president was on 60 Minutes last night and went beast mode. I want to play you all of those clips. And of course, we're going to be bringing in some major experts to talk with us today about the security lapses and failures. And we're excited about it, but I want to start by bringing your attention to what we absolutely know and the op that is currently ongoing inside of the left-wing corporate media in order to try and deceive you as to what actually happened here. So let's go through the nuts and bolts, and then we're going to jump over to what we know and what we learned from the president and the FBI director just moments ago. Okay. Number one, this is AI, all right? It is AI enhanced. This is based on the footage that was shared right here. And I don't know why every major event has to be filmed through a potato with a Nokia phone. Even the shooting in Butler, we didn't really have major 4K footage. We had like the grainiest, crappiest footage. We can't ever get a solid shot of any of this stuff. And the Secret Service clearly couldn't get any solid shots here because they were trying to fire on and did fire multiple times at Cole Allen as he blasted through the security gates here right outside of the ballroom. Now, I know the Washington Hilton really well. I've been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner a dozen times. I know precisely what's happening here. I know exactly what's going on. And I know how close this is, as you can see the gunman run through, to the President of the United States. In fact, there are many videos, I don't know, ALX, shout it out if we actually have one loaded, where you can see Donald Trump and you can hear all the gunfire. The exact same video. That's how close it was. The guns were being fired right next to Trump. They were being fired so close to Trump that you could actually hear them in footage of the president sitting there talking on stage during the Correspondents' Dinner. That's a good one. Okay, you want to pop it up? I want to like actually show you. Like this is this is. Let's hear it. Listen to that. There you go. Yep, you can hear the actual gunshots. Go back one more time. Let's listen. That's how close it was, ladies and gentlemen. It should not be that close. It is far too close. And it's something that has bothered me quite a bit about all of this, is the absolute collapse of security. Why was somebody able to get this close to President Trump? Why were members of the press able to check into the hotel the same day and nobody even asked them or checked their bags? You know, you have half the federal government in one place. Now, I was at the State of the Union. You have half the federal government. You have a considerable portion of the government at the State of the Union. And the security for that was overwhelming, right? Nobody was getting into the building. Nobody was able to access the U.S. Capitol, even though I had a badge and a security press badge, and I'm known to security forces. Like I was pushed away. I was pushed far, far, far away into our little cubbyhole that we were broadcasting from. And we were locked down during that event. There was nobody in or out. So it bothers me that somebody was able to even get so close, even if you're filming from a potato here, right? But this is the AI enhanced footage. And the title of today's show is the Secret Service lying? I want to talk about one critical lie here, okay, as you watch the AI enhanced footage here. But nonetheless, I think that it shows a little more clearly where the bodies are in motion during this event. You can see here that the mags are being taken down. You can see that security is sort of standing lax. Security is up against the wall. Nobody's creating a perimeter. And that a gunman is able to sprint directly through the security barriers without anybody physically stopping him. Now, you heard that a Secret Service agent was shot. You know who wasn't shot? The gunman. Cole Allen didn't get hit by a single bullet. So that seems problematic to me. Does it to you? Because as you can hear in the clips, 5 to 7 bullets were fired at this gunman. So where's your marksmanship? Where's your ability to actually neutralize a threat? And this is where it gets really dodgy. You heard that a Secret Service agent was shot. Okay. But were they shot by their own service agent? Were they shot by a friendly? Were the discharges of these weapons done in such a abrupt and haphazardly manner? Was the security breakdown so thorough and complete that this was a case of friendly fire? That's what our friend Susan Crabtree is asking right here. Because, well, one, the security forces that are speaking to her, she's an excellent reporter who covers the Secret Service for Real Clear Politics. She's been on the program before. She says that Secret Service agents are leaking to her. Somebody's going to get killed. They say they're going to blame it on Kash Patel, but he has nothing to do with it. That this should have been the most secure perimeter on Earth. And the fact that a guy made it through the mags underscores the epic failure of the Secret Service. The president, she's saying out this morning, she's wondering, wait a second, is there a possibility that the Secret Service who was shot, that he wasn't even shot by the gunman, Cole Allen? Was it a case of friendly fire? Well, the Secret Service has given her absolute blank, cold shoulder iceberg, because they are on a gag order right now. You're on a gag order and they've locked down all of the evidence. That means that you need to really start asking some major questions here. And that is, of course, critical to understanding the major security failures. What's also critical to understanding the security failures is how Cole Allen was able to just blaze right through. Listen to his own words. Listen to the dude's words. So he wrote a full anti-Trump manifesto. I want to make this very clear because there are people who are out trying to lie about this. Cole Allen left a detailed manifesto about why he was doing this. It's complete libtard Reddit brain rot, the entire thing. Trump's a pedophile. Trump's a traitor. Trump's a tyrant. And I got to take out the dictator. Okay, so listen, it's just complete libtard brain rot. It is indistinguishable from any thread on Blue Sky or any thread on Reddit. He didn't have any type of higher calling. He just viewed it as an opportunity to kill as many members of the administration as possible. It's totally evil. The left is indefensible on this front. They have contributed to all of this. They're liars. Don't allow any single one of them. These bastards, man, it makes me so angry. The way that Barack Obama has framed all of this just pisses me off so much. So the guy releases a manifesto. He says, I'm trying to kill Trump. I'm trying to kill as many administration officials as possible. Then he goes on social media, and we've cataloged that social media, by the way. We went through and showed the world his social media before it was deleted. Again, pro-trans, anti-Trump, anti-Christian, Ukraine war advocate, total lib brain rot. He left a complete ideological paper trail on his social media, unlike Thomas Matthew Crooks, unlike Tyler Robinson, who there's just little bits and pieces and images and smoke and mirrors and reflections of what an ideology might be. A lot of it secondhand. This guy was overt, including but not limited to literally using a gif of a shotgun to go after President Trump, saying that he wants to commit another January 6th. This is what the guy was saying. Now, what he did is actually worse than anything that happened on January 6th. This clip is worse than anything that happened on January 6th Because what this clip shows is somebody who is intended on actually overthrowing the government. That means killing an elected official with a deadly weapon. There were no weapons confiscated on January 6th. Nobody brought a gun to January 6th. And unlike January 6th, this wasn't a hoax. This is actually real. This is real. And I'm very angry at people calling it a hoax because this is something that actually did, in fact, happen. Barack Obama adding to the hoax by saying we can't know the motive. We just don't have any details about the motive. Dude, we know everything that this guy has done. I completely nuked him from space here. And Barack Obama himself has been ratioed 33,000 comments to 19,000 reposts. This is a proper ratio. But this has been seen by 52 million people. Barack Obama is lying on purpose because he knows that this is very, very harmful to his cause. Democrat assassin, I want to kill Trump. Democrat assassin tries to kill Trump with a gun on camera. Leaves note describing in great detail how much they want to kill Trump and want him dead. Posts on social media about killing Trump. Obama, no motive. These people are evil, man. They're completely evil. And, you know, they're not like denying that you have cancer doesn't mean you're going to not die of cancer. This is what he's doing. So Barack Obama knows exactly that he and his party radicalized. They did it on purpose. They want to radicalize people to kill Trump. And now that they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, he has to do something like this. He has to lie to the American public. We don't have details yet. Will any reporter go to Barack Obama? Will any reporter go up to Barack Obama and say, hey, listen, like this guy is clearly like a huge fan of yours. And everything that you've said about Donald Trump, like he's literally repeated verbatim everything you said about Trump. Like, do you disavow him? Will you apologize to Trump? Will any reporter have the balls to do that? No, you'd have to have. Yeah, you'd have to have big balls as a reporter to actually do that. And, you know, there's enough of that already, right, in Barack Obama's marriage. So you have a major problem here where now the left is going to lie. And they're going to lie about the motive. They can't have you see what's actually happening. And more importantly, and something that is frustrating to me because we all know that the left wants Donald Trump dead, is this part of the manifesto. So I've read the full manifesto on the channel. Please go back and read it for yourself. You'll see that I'm 100% framing this correctly. This is what bothers me the very most. Listen to him talk about the security at the event. So this guy traveled across the country in an Amtrak because in the Amtrak, there's no like TSA. You can just put a bag on an Amtrak and you can carry a bag anywhere you want. Nobody's going to stop you. And so he carried firearms from California, gun control state, across the country to Washington, D.C. And then he checked into the hotel and nobody checked his bags. Nobody checked anything. The entire federal government's going to be there. He could have brought, you know, a dirty bomb. He could have brought anything he wanted to that hotel. And he said so right here. I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors up the wazoo. What I got was, and maybe they're pranking me, no damn security. No, not in transport, not in the hotel, not at the event. Like, the one thing that I immediately noticed walking to the hotel was a sense of arrogance. That is a matter of fact in Washington, D.C. I walk in with multiple weapons. Not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what would happen if somebody just checked in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane, and I sincerely hope it's corrected by the time the country gets actual competent leadership again. He says, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Madus in here and nobody could have noticed shit. Actually insane, he says. It's like weird to empathize with the shooter. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say, look, bro clock is right twice a day. He's correct here. Why was he able to get so close to President Trump? Why was this able to happen at all? You know, if the security checkpoint was outside, this would have never happened. I mean, if you'd secured the rooftop in Butler, this would have never happened. Here it is. And so, yeah, there are some massive security failures, some things that should not be forgiven, some questions that we need to ask, and some major potentially, was it sabotage? Was it on purpose? What do we say in these moments? we say that gross incompetence is indistinguishable from malevolence. So at some point, if you're stupid enough, then your stupidity adds up in layers and it compounds. And then your stupidity will lead to something horrible. Something terrible will happen. Chernobyl, right? Layers of incompetence, just levels upon levels of incompetence leading to the actual meltdown and all those deaths and an irradiated Belarus for the end of time, right? That's how you get Chernobyl meltdown. This is the same thing. And it's been the same thing. And it's why we've been very, very frustrated. It's been very frustrated. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Yes, thank you. I have so much to say about this. I would like to say it to a man who's been asking for oversight of the Secret Service and talking about the Secret Service failures for a very long time. His name is Tom Fitton. Tom Fitton is in charge of Judicial Watch. He's somebody who has sued the federal government in order to find out the truth about Butler and the security failures inside of the Secret Service. And ladies and gentlemen, Tom joins us live right now via phone, and that's just fine with me. I want to hear his take on this. Let's go. Hi, Tom. Good morning to you. I gotcha.
Benny, I'm good to be with you.
All right. So talk to me, Tom. What's your major takeaway here after watching this, once again, security failure that could have led to a mass slaughter of administration officials?
It is a security failure, and it seems like the Secret Service has luck as a security principle, and that's no way to run a railroad if you're protecting the President of the United States. Now, I know the Secret Service has the President as the primary protectee. The Vice President was there. Other senior cabinet officials were there. And of course, you know, at a presidential event, you have innocents there in terms of guests, staff of the hotel, etc. And I don't think it's unfair to expect that the security perimeter would have been at least outside the hotel on the day of, or maybe the day before, or 2 days before. And if it hadn't happened twice before, in the sense of him being subject to assassination attempts, one might expect, well, this is the normal thing, so let's do it normally. But there's nothing normal about the situation we're in with an entire political party inciting violence against President Trump, in my view, egged on and condoned and furthered by their allied media. So these are dangerous times for the president. And it's hard. Obviously, it could have been worse, and I'm glad no one was seriously injured yesterday or the other night. But I tell you, you can't look at that video. You can't look at what happened in that giant ballroom and conclude the Secret Service that was a job well done, in the sense that, well, because the guy didn't get into the ballroom, we should give them medals. And I don't think that's the case institutionally. Individually, there may be medals given to the Secret Service and you know, some brave acts, but they were slow to react in the video you're showing there, in my view. And I think they were slow to remove the president back to safety as well.
I know that some people are getting very upset about this online. I just want to establish this is an AI-enhanced video by a guy named Seth Weathers, who took the original video that President Trump posted because it looked like it was filmed through a potato on a Nokia 7 as somebody was playing Snake. What the hell's going on here, Tom? Like, I'm sick of getting the lack of information. And I know that Judicial Watch has sued. I believe that. Have you sued over Butler? Have you have you guys been aggressive on getting more information about Butler? Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. We finally started getting documents from the FBI. We did get documents from the locals up in Butler. We got documents that the feds wouldn't give us. Finally, the FBI started turning over records. The last batch of records are disturbing. Crooks got into an altercation at the rally with Trump supporters. He was a witness, told the FBI he was saying hateful comments against Trump. He might have been on the phone at the time. And then after the altercation, he immediately just went up on the roof, and the rest is history. I don't know what type of security is present at a presidential rally where an altercation can take place and a guy exits the altercation and gets right up on the roof and nothing happens, or nothing sufficient happens in the case of what happened to Butler. And no wonder we're not getting these documents in a timely way, because they show the Secret Service is a mess. It's long been dysfunctional. I don't think the White House is secure enough. Forget about ballrooms. I don't think the White House is secure enough. And I've been complaining for a long time about it. And certainly we've been asking questions of the Secret Service through FOIA and such. But I tell you, looking at what happened at that event, I don't know about you, Benny, but I'd be hesitant to go to an event like that in the future, given what I know about the way the Secret Service has been operating. Story after story of incompetence. And not only that, when something goes wrong, there's no correction, there's no accountability.
Yes.
Those responsible either get elevated or nothing happens at all. Do you recall any congressional hearings on Butler?
I know that people tried. I know they tried. I went to Butler with a couple members of Congress. I went to Butler with a couple members of Congress because they were so frustrated that they could get nothing from the federal government. So they got on the road and we just drove there. And we had to go look for ourselves. What amazed me, Tom, about this is that it was the single most, in our lifetime, this was the most dangerous incident with a president in a generation since Reagan had been shot. And I went there and it hadn't even been a week. It hadn't even been a week, and there was nothing at the crime scene. Nothing was locked down. I could walk. I could wander around on the roof. I could see all the blood splatter on the roof from Thomas Crooks. Nothing had happened. It was strange. It was like there was just this complete scrape job, and nobody had any interest in really going through the forensics of what happened. It was like, let's wipe this from the earth as quickly as possible because the roofs were sloped.
Yeah, and I'm not aware of much in the way of Secret Service. Now that you mention it, the Secret Service, I don't think it has given us anything of note about the attack itself in Butler. The FBI has only recently begun releasing records, even though Crooks has been dead for nearly 2 years.
Right.
They left Butler in a hot minute, right?
Why protect him? Why protect him? Why don't we know who he was talking to? He was on the phone. It's so interesting you said he was on the phone. Yes, he was, because we have the photos of him on the phone right before he shot Trump. Who was he talking with? It's not important to know.
Or was he taking video? I mean, there are two questions.
Sure.
So the guy who saw him saying hateful comments towards Trump said he was on the phone. He couldn't tell whether he was recording, talking, or FaceTiming. But again, why is this a mystery? Why is the head of a nonprofit that sues for records about issues like this 2 years later still asking these basic questions because the government refuses to fess up? Now, the FBI has begun the release of records, but it's like everything, it's going to take forever and a day for the full batch to be released in my experience. That photo came out because of a Judicial Watch FOIA.
I remember, and I'm thankful for your organization for this.
Why is it took a FOIA request to get it?
Why is it that the sniper, the police sniper, the local police sniper who took this photo, why was he pulled from his position? Because this sniper's position, I stood in the room where the sniper was. His position would have had perfect overwatch of where Thomas Crooks was crawling on the roof. It would have been like shooting a fish in a barrel to get rid of this guy and get rid of this threat. But instead, he was pulled off from that position. That's a matter of fact. Why?
Well, and the Secret Service sniper did not act quickly enough to take out Crooks.
That's right.
I think there's still a debate about which sniper did. But it doesn't matter because the Secret Service sniper did not act quickly enough.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are saying
not
that
acceptable. And I don't think what happened the other night was acceptable. I mean, would
a
you
lot of
want
people
it? I don't know if you were there. Would you have wanted to be there thinking, oh, well, it's okay. They got him at the top of the stairs.
Right. Yeah,
Now, what
exactly.
if there were a half dozen guys who had rushed?
Yeah, I thought about this, Tom, because we were there on site and we were being walked around by the security professionals, some of the local cops there in Butler. And there was a unguarded, totally open to the public, completely open field right next to Trump. If Iran or if Russia or whatever, who cares? Whatever, just anybody, right? The Shriners, you know, if they had something against Trump, if any group had just lined up people right there on the perimeter, it would have been a mass slaughter. You wouldn't have just been able to get Trump. Like if you had a sophisticated actual a couple gunmen, you would have been able to kill hundreds of people and make it so that there was never a MAGA rally ever again. Thank God that didn't happen. But there were people, Tom, pulling up coolers of beer and able to like sit in an open field just watching the event. They were that close to Trump. That's where all the camera footage comes from of Thomas Crooks. It's like crazy. If this was sophisticated, if it was a sophisticated operation, if just one nation state or splinter cell decided that they were going to like go take out our federal government, it could actually happen. And it could have happened on Saturday night. You're exactly right. Tom, what if there was a block of hotel rooms that were booked by a terror cell and it was 10 guys instead of one? Well, they couldn't even hit the one guy, Tom.
CBS News reported that he avoided what, according to CBS, was the more strict security in public spaces by walking down the stairs.
Yeah. Or climbing
So
on a
he
roof.
walked down the stairs,
Yep.
exited literally a few yards from the magnetometer, and sprinted. That's what CBS News reported.
With a long gun, with a fire, with what I believe to be a 12-gauge shotgun. So, yeah. Great.
So there are other places in DC they can hold the event, and they're obviously going to, I don't think they're going to go back to the Hilton.
Smart.
Maybe the convention center is a bit more secure. You know, but at these big events, they do usually have security outside the venue.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and you shouldn't just like allow somebody to check in the day before or the day of with zero security. I mean, what you know, you could go in there and you could build a bomb. I'm no security expert. I'm like sitting here trying but you could truly like do something. You could go if you were able to get a block of hotel rooms, which allegedly you could. Anyone could check in with anything and carry anything to their room. You could have really done something devastating to that hotel.
Yeah, you know, and of course the pushback on that is going to be they can't shut down the whole hotel. They can't perform
host it somewhere else.
security in a free society.
Host it somewhere else.
Well, that's right. Or you have the Secret Service say, well, we can't go there because it's not secure.
Sure. Yep. It's time. I mean, it's too bad. The left has done this to us. I mean, I think that two real quick things. One, the obfuscation of Barack Obama saying we don't know the motive of the assassin yesterday. I want to get your take on that.
Yeah, we can't. The biggest security problem isn't the failures of the Secret Service. It's the incitement, the use of words that are designed, and I think knowingly so, to direct violence at one's political opponents. We call someone a Nazi. You know, Barack Obama, by the way, whose political career began palling around with terrorists. For him to bemoan violence while his whole political operation.
You mean Bill Ayers? You mean Bill Ayers? Weather
Bill Ayers,
Underground?
yeah. You know, just a guy in his neighborhood. Remember, he's just a guy in his block.
Chicago Mafia, they called it, right?
Yeah. And then pretend not to know what's behind this. What's behind this is an epidemic of leftist rhetoric designed to get people killed. And they do want to get President. Let's be clear. This is not just like some nut job who wants to see President Trump killed. Benny Thompson, the senior House member, promoted a bill to remove Secret Service protection from Donald Trump if he was convicted.
Yep.
So that's a death sentence. Biden denied him Secret Service protection that was adequate and competent. When he was on trial, local officials didn't protect him well. He had to travel back and forth to that trial up in New York. They didn't close the streets for him. He's sitting in the middle of New York City traffic every day while he was on that trial. Secret Service didn't take the steps necessary to protect him. Remember, they denied security protection to Bobby Kennedy.
They want the same thing to happen to President Trump.
So I don't believe this is like, oh, the rhetoric needs to be policed. No, they were taking steps, I think, in the hopes that he would be killed.
That's clearly what they wanted. They were fetishizing it and fantasizing about it. Jimmy Kimmel, who made an assassination joke about Trump just a day ago, right before he was nearly assassinated. Jimmy Kimmel had a whole segment about how Donald Trump would be knifed in prison. He had a play set put together where you could kill Donald Trump in prison, and they thought that was funny. They were laughing at it. There's a whole probably up on his YouTube right now. We've talked about it regularly on the show. They're fantasizing about how putting Trump in jail would kill him, right? How we could kill Trump in prison would be the easiest way to do it. So there.
And it's not going to stop. They're going to try to put him in prison after he leaves office, or maybe even before then, depending on how Congress goes. But these are dangerous times, and so if I were the president, I would bring in additional security to supplement what the Secret Service is doing. I'd have a hot wash of the whole Secret Service agency in a more direct way than it's been done to date. And bring in additional military personnel to provide security at the White House as well. You visited the White House. You know what the White House is like. People would be unpleasantly surprised how relaxed security is at the White House. That's my experience.
So you would bring in Delta Force to protect the president? You'd bring in.
Well, my guess is they have something similar, if not Delta Force, already on hand for protection. But there's got to be a more visible military presence around the White House and around the president. I don't think the Secret Service is, the proof is in the pudding, right? They've failed twice already in serious ways. And we can debate how much of a failure it was the other night, but it was, no one's going to think they get an A+ for how that turned out.
No. Tom, we want to thank you for joining our program. We know that you got a lot going on today and this morning, and we appreciate your insights here as ever. We thank you for fighting and getting some of this information, what little we do know about Butler. I could talk with you about this all day, man. Hopefully we can sit down and do something long form. Yeah. Something's wrong. It does frustrate me that we found out more about Cole Allen in minutes. I mean, literal minutes. We have his donations, we have his address, we know what he does for a living, we get his manifesto 14 hours later, we have his social media pulled that morning, and we were able to hunt down so much about this guy's fingerprint and his trail, and we still know nothing, right, about the Butler shooting. About any type of motive, about what was going on. It still seems wrong to me. My federal sources tell me there's a lot there, but that is being withheld. Makes me frustrated.
Well, hopefully we'll get it through our lawsuit because none of it has been released prior to our suing for it, which is just incredible.
Tom, you're a fighter. Thank you. God bless you. Everybody follow Tom Fitton here, and don't get in to a fight with this guy. He would have been able to stop the shooter. Just body check him through the wall. It's Tom Fitton, who's the head of Judicial Watch, one of the few organizations that is seeking truth, Democrat or Republican administration. He's a thorn in both sides.
That's right.
And for good reason. God bless you, Tom. The truth will set you free.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate the good work.
Right. And ladies and gentlemen, we have an FBI special agent who will be joining our program in just one moment. It's our honor to actually have Ren on the show. Just really quickly, I want to make sure that you are locked in and secure. I don't know, what that looks like for you on your in your property or where you live. I want my president to be secure. I want my home to be secure where my children live. But I want also financial security for them. Advantage Gold is how I get it. Advantage Gold is the sound investment in the portfolio that stays very strong throughout ups and downs. And there's a lot of them these days financially. Billionaires are buying gold. Central banks are buying gold. It is just a stable asset. It also smashed through records, $5,500 an ounce. It pulled back a bit, and some people are saying this is the dip of the decade to buy. I trust Advantage Gold, top-rated precious metals company. You should text them today. Text Benny to 85545 today. That's BENNY to 85545 today to get your Advantage Gold investment kit. The dip isn't waiting. Text Benny to 85545 today. I mentioned this Jimmy Kimmel bad taste joke. It's just a few seconds long. Why don't we play it, and then we'll jump to our next guest that we're very excited to have on the program. Here's what Jimmy Kimmel said about how Melania needs to be a widow.
Okay, so now let's pretend this is his first day of prison, okay?
No.
And you guys can come in.
Not the right one. Please. Thank you. That's what Jimmy Kimmel said about Melania being a widow. He said this.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
So just breaking this down very quickly, why would you say that to anyone? Have you ever said that to anyone? What is implicit in that? Let's break down the language of that joke. And that was a joke that was made just hours before President Trump, before Melania was almost a widow, or maybe Melania was killed herself because Melania was sitting right next to Trump. Pop up the clip of them reacting, please, the C-SPAN clip. Oh, wow. Melania responded? Holy smokes. I didn't actually know that. Goodness gracious. Jimmy Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is intended to divide our country. His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening and spread hate. A coward. Kimmel hides behind ABC because he knows his network will keep running cover to protect him. Enough is enough. It's time for ABC to take a stand. How many times will ABC's leadership enable Kimmel to have this atrocious behavior at the expense of our community? Whoa. Holy moly. Did this just happen? Yeah, 10 a.m. Right at time of recording. Holy smokes. And this is for real. If you watch the Melania Trump clip at the dinner, you can see how frightened she is because, of course, you can hear the horrible crash. You can hear the bangs. You can hear the firearms. Just get me one of the reaction clips of them on stage when you can actually hear the gunfire, please. You could, not this one, the one that's close up of Melania, the one that's like the one that was playing on repeat right when it happened, ALX, please. The one of shows Melania very shocked. This is something that's traumatic for Melania. I'm sure that you've seen this footage, but if you haven't, you'll see how terrified the First Lady was. And how, of course, when you hear gunfire and you hear all the smashing and screaming and shattering of plates, and suddenly all these tactical Delta operators, special forces operators, I don't know what unit they're in, they come and grab you and yank you off stage. You can see the terror in Melania's eyes here, also in Caroline Leavitt's eyes here. Keep going, and you can hear the gunshots. Look at her, right? This is terrifying. And then Jimmy Kimmel makes a joke about your trauma. He did the same thing with Erica Kirk, made a joke about the trauma, blaming Charlie for his own death. That's what Jimmy Kimmel did. How many times are we going to allow this jackass to go and use our tax dollars, which is what he's doing on ABC News? He broadcasts on ABC. ABC is a very privileged network that gets to use tax dollars to broadcast into your home. They use government infrastructure. They're on government licenses, government broadcast licenses. And Jimmy Kimmel's making a joke about how Melania deserves to be a widow. And then Melania was nearly made a widow. Was the gunman radicalized by Jimmy Kimmel? The gunman's manifesto is indistinguishable from a Jimmy Kimmel monologue. Jimmy Kimmel could have just given that monologue. Well done, Melania Trump. Whoa, I just can't believe it, man. Well done. Way to go. Melania Trump coming in over the top and saying enough of our tax dollars being used to fund this. Hey, she did the same thing to Charlie and his family, making a joke that Charlie deserved it. That's what he said. He said the gunman who killed Charlie was MAGA. That's what he said. He said, you and me are doing everything we can to try and stop, from getting blamed for this, but it's our fault that Charlie died. And now he's making fun of Melania Trump, saying Melania Trump deserves to be a widow, a glowing widow, as though Melania Trump wants to be a widow. You ever said that? What did that term even mean, a glowing widow? Widow means your husband's dead. Glowing means you're happy about it. And then he says Melania looks like a glowing widow as though like she's expectant. We're hoping Trump dies soon. This is the language that he used. So that's what he's saying. He's wishing the assassination of the president. That's what's happening here. Way to go, Melania. Put that post up again. Let's go look at those numbers. I bet that's cooking, baby. Put that post up again. Goodness gracious. 7,000. Refresh. Whew. There it goes. Good for you, Melania. Way to go. I don't know, man. It's Jimmy Kimmel. Is Jimmy Kimmel going to get his show canceled today? This from the First Lady is strong. This from the First Lady is strong. And a reminder, you fund all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a honored guest on the program, FBI special agent, supervisory agent, former. His name is Ren McEachern, and he is joining our show live to talk about some of the potential security failures here and what could be done to better protect the president. No more important topic to talk about today than this. It's our honor to have Ren on the show. Ren, how are you? Good morning to you.
Happy Monday, Benny. How are you doing?
Hey, just fine, man. What's your big major takeaway from this weekend? I'm pretty frustrated. I know our audience is pretty frustrated. We're sick of people trying to kill our president. We spend billions of dollars a year in the protection of the president, but it sure as hell seems like these people get way too close as far for comfort, as far as I'm concerned.
Has the Secret Service lost their minds? I mean, if this was a dirty bomb, we would have lost the president, the vice president, the speaker, and half the cabinet, right?
Wow.
Or if multiple shooters are trying to come in, that would have happened, right? What is going on? Like, no lessons learned from Butler. There was actually a congressional task force done with recommendations like manpower, right? Securing the perimeter, securing the actual place. Nothing has changed. And the landscape gets harsher, more extreme by people like Kimmel, right? Clearly. But yet the Secret Service doesn't want to change their posturing towards this. And this is exactly what happens, right? Is what happened last night. I mean, those guys, as a former law enforcement person, I hate second guessing, but they're literally taking down the magnetometers. Like, the show's over. Like, the event is just beginning. Like, I don't understand what is going on here, whether it's culture or funding or the whole place needs to be replaced as an agency. It's disgusting. It's scary. And we're lucky, and luck is not a strategy. This is insane.
You bring up such a great point that if this was, I'm sure in your FBI career, you probably did see or perhaps stopped many far more organized attacks. If this was an organized attack, what could have happened? What's the worst that could have happened with this type of lax security, in your experience?
Yeah, all you would have needed is 4 legitimate gunmen with something like an AK-47 each, and they would have got into that conference room or the large room, the event room, no problem, and would have had a free-for-all with several seconds of shooting at everybody. And by the way, as you know, the president, the first lady, and the VP are at an elevated position, very easy for them to shoot up to. Right. It's just a disgusting situation. And I don't know how many more times we have to take a chance like this. I mean, we're lucky that this did not happen, and the ability to get an AK-47 into that hotel room and then into the event with the magnetometers are down. And as long as you're running fast enough, you're going to get in. He was not shot.
He was not shot. Some are saying, and Clown, would you mind adding my screen, please? Thank you. And I know that this is AI. I just want to say this is an AI enhanced video, but I think that it's helpful in order to show the clarity of what happened. Still, the body's in motion in this video, while every minute detail might not be exact. This shows the motion of every agent and the gunman in this instance. What's going on here, Ren? Like how egregious is it? You're right. They're taking down all the security measures while the president is sitting there with the first lady.
They are doors away from the president, right? And the only reason the doors are closed is for noise. And by the way, as we know, any of the dignitaries, any of the people there going to the bathroom are in that exact same hallway, obviously.
Yes,
like we know, we've heard that story.
Yes.
But you can see these guys think the show is over, right? This is a culture problem. It's a tactical problem. The other thing I want to highlight is I do believe, unfortunately, there's probably friendly fire, which often can happen in these chaotic situations if the training is not good, right? And I want to actually point to the three gentlemen, the three officers against the wall. If you stop at the very beginning or start the video at the very beginning,
Here we go.
the guy in the middle, let's see those three arrows down. Watch that guy in the middle. He drops very quickly. And it looks like, I believe potentially he may have been shot by the guy whose back is towards us, shooting at the subject as he's running towards them. He drops like a bag of potatoes. And people are saying, oh no, he shoots the other person, another agent to his right. But if you go back and watch that slowly, you'll see him. And they have to drag him away. He cannot walk. So regardless, if you see or watch that guy in the middle, he drops, boom. And then he cannot walk. They have to go back and pull him along. Look, see that? Like there's something wrong with that guy.
Wow.
Right. And I don't know if he's the one that may have been shot. And thankfully, by the way, we know that the vest worked and the gentleman will be okay if it's him or somebody else.
Yes, of course.
Bottom line is you see all of these, what we call blue on blue situations where people are shooting in the directions of other officers, right? No one hits the subject. We're actually lucky that more officers were not shot. And ultimately, the guy is tackled. That's the hero, whoever tackled this guy, by the way. Talk about getting medals and things like that. But look at the composure of the team. Everybody's back is to where the threat will be coming into. And it's all kind of like, hey, it's like we're in the coffee room. We're getting water at the bubbler, right? Putting stuff away. You know, it's shocking to me that after Butler, after what happened with the golf course issue, after what happened with the Northgate and Mar-a-Lago, that this is where we're at. It doesn't make sense.
Some are saying that perhaps it was this officer that was trying to shoot and stop, and this officer then fired and hit this agent. It certainly seems plausible. It absolutely seems plausible, Ren.
And even if it's not, even if it isn't that situation, all of this is a training issue.
Yes.
We have to get training is something we can control, right? We can do that as much as we need to. We can be repetitive. We get the muscle memory. It's something we have to do as a former law enforcement, as a former SWAT operator. This is the kind of a training that has to be ingrained. It takes time and money to do that. To me, there's a lack of training with this group at a minimum, right? And these people are protecting the 1, 2, and 3 of our government.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have really been that difficult to have said, well, listen, we're not going to let a bunch of randos check into the hotel, because if you bought a block of rooms, you could light a bomb that could bring down the whole hotel, right, onto this ballroom. This is a subterranean ballroom. And I hate to think this way, but it's just the way you got to think. I mean, I was walking the grounds in Butler right after the shooting, and it's just like, man, if you had a sophisticated operation here, you could have killed thousands of people, plus the president. You could have ended MAGA rallies forever.
Right.
Yeah,
Crooks was not a great shot. Look what he was able to do.
Right.
A real sniper, game over, clearly.
Game over. And if you had a real drone swarm, game over, right? Like it would have been over. Everything. Nothing would have stopped it. So it just seems.
But also, remember with Butler, I was like, oh, well, now we have to go inside because we have to worry. We can't handle the sniper situation, right? Well, now we're inside.
This was inside. This was
right.
inside.
And now we can't handle this situation.
Yes, right. Yes, right.
Hotels are always problematic, by the way, for
Yeah.
securing for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And we always the balance of access and security. No more of this balance talk. Let's just secure the president first. And screw the access right now. We clearly cannot do both well effectively right now, right?
Correct.
And I know we're a democracy. I understand we need access, but right now we need our president and our leaders to stay alive, right? That should be the priority. You cannot go through everybody, every bio, run every person in the hotel. That's a massive hotel. Events at hotels, I'm sorry, they're over. They're done, right? We just cannot control that environment. And the fact that he's potentially using a stairway that somehow circumvents some of the security, if I'm even understanding that correctly, like stairways, isn't that protection 101?
Same with rooftops, right? Like the elevated position. Bro, I was wandering around in Butler with Eli Crane, who, of course, has taken a ton of bullets for this country and was a Navy SEAL, and he was, positioned in some of the worst places on earth. And he's like, you don't have Overwatch? You have nobody up on the water tower? You have nobody looking at the roof? You have nobody that has eyes on the event? There's nobody up in an elevated position because there wasn't. He's like, this is systemically designed to fail. It's designed
Brooks had a
to kill someone.
rangefinder. He had a rangefinder, and then they lost him.
Bro. Yep.
Why do you need a rangefinder at that event? Then they lost contact with him? Like how? Like that? You grab that guy right away. I'm sorry, but that is the posture we have to be into right now. That's just the reality. This should not be that difficult.
So I don't know how many years you spent in the FBI as a supervisory agent. Perhaps that I don't know.
Over 5. It's 12 total.
So 12 years in the FBI. How would you fix this? You're a patriot. You love your country. You don't want any president to die. You don't want any president to get harmed. You've sworn oath to uphold your country. How would you fix this today?
Number one, we don't have committees by death. First of all, let's augment immediately with people and make decisions about where we're going to be holding events and say, basically, it's got to be a 99 out of 100 to make that decision if it's actually going to hold it. So let's start by tightening everything up first. And then really, number one is understanding technology is a big part of this. And anybody that's worked in the federal government knows that we're always last to adopt technology. You mentioned before swarming drones is an issue, of course, that we have to think about. Technology is part of the solution here. But also, there's a lot of common sense. We need some new leadership. I'm sorry. I know the director is rather new, and I'm sure he's beloved by Trump, and I understand there's a connection there. Clearly, we need new leadership, and we need micromanagement in the beginning. I hate to say that, but that's what we need, and we need a fresh look at this stuff. We need to break it down to the simplest forms: more training, more technology, more manpower. And really, I'm sorry, but the Dems not funding DHS, this is another example, right? Them basically holding us over the fire because they refuse to fund basically the Secret Service. And this is what you get, right? They need funding. They don't just need funding, they need more funding. We're under a CR. Like they can't get the additional funding. If the threat tempo is up, the budget has to go up, right? It has to meet and then exceed our place, our choosing, right? Where is that? They have to be right once. You hear the term all the time in the Secret Service. It's a very hard job, by the way. They have to be right every time. And we just cannot afford this. But better people, better training, better budgets, technology, and it's got to be done now. We cannot wait.
Yes, you brought up the Democrats here, and I don't want to give them a pass. There's certain things that we can control the way the Secret Service operates. It's currently under the leadership of people that we know, people that have been on the show. And so that's been the angle of the program ultimately, because that's something that we can affect change with. I don't have Barack Obama's number. I don't have Jimmy Kimmel's number. But as a former federal agent who did protection and wants a peaceful country, what does it mean when you have Barack Obama saying, we don't know the motive, right, on this kind of stuff, instead of going directly at what's happened, the radicalization in his party and his own rhetoric? What about Jimmy Kimmel, like saying that Melania needs to be a widow, and then moments later, Melania was nearly made a widow. Melania was nearly killed. That, you're exactly right. If somebody had gone in there with a couple of AKs, a couple of ARs, then you would have absolutely been able to get shots at Melania. She was sitting right on. She was center stage. What about that threat? You know, the ratcheting up of this style of language.
Well, first of all, leadership, with Hakeem Jeffries needs to stand up. And he had a chance, I believe, yesterday for some comments to say, hey, enough is enough. Stop killing or attempting to kill the president of the United States and our leaders, right? Those are elected officials. And Barack Obama and others, this is not a coincidence that the violence is ratcheting it up when people are not calling it for what it is.
Yes.
Right. And Kimmel is making it a joke. He's trying to get clicks and viewership. His ratings prove how disgusting and how no talented kind of guy he is. But the rhetoric has to stop. But that means people on the Democrat side have to stand up. People like Fetterman, who also has made some comments about this, saying, guys, as a republic, we cannot afford for our president and our future presidents to be attacked constantly and our leaders to be attacked. But the culture is, you know what? We don't like the people in place. Well, we know a solution. How about violence? That is disgusting, where more and more young people think it's actually okay to use violence to fix a political problem. Like, what world are we living in? Because they're hearing it from the very top, the very biggest leaders. I don't know. I think the biggest leader right now in the Democratic Party is Obama, I would say, more than maybe anybody else, has more influence. And he's saying these things. This is not a coincidence that we're seeing this uptick in violence. It has to stop, but we have to get together. And Trump was very poetic in what he was saying at his press conference on Saturday night, saying, hey, enough. We've got to come together on this. This should be a bipartisan event, by the way, right? I mean, what is going on here?
What would you like to see happen with Jimmy Kimmel? It gets me very angry that the taxpayers fund this kind of stuff. People don't quite understand exactly the lavish privileges that are given with broadcast licenses by the government to ABC, NBC, and CBS. These are worth billions of dollars every single year that we pay for Jimmy Kimmel's jokes.
Yeah, no, the FCC needs to go in and take a look and absolutely tax dollars for this. Why? Like, we've already been through this with PBS and NPR. Those are propaganda channels pushing their rhetoric against conservatives, good Americans who just want the best for the country, and yet Kimmel wants to just use that as a platform to spew disgusting hate and basically threatening the first lady there. I love her response. Melania is obviously an incredible woman, and her latest documentary there shows what she's been through. She's tough and she can handle this, but this is disgusting. Kimmel needs to be pulled. And like, what happened to the good old days of Carson? Carson never, Johnny Carson never got into politics, and he was really funny. People loved him. Not that difficult, is it?
I would be remiss, Ren, if I didn't ask, and I agree with you, of course, on all points here. And it's time for the FCC to actually take action. I would be remiss if I didn't ask, as 12-year FBI veteran, how do you think it's going at the FBI right now? What do you think? Cash, there are rumors that Cash might be on the outs. There's obviously been a considerable, there have been some very, very good, there's been some high highs and some low lows. But as somebody who was on the inside, what's your take?
Yeah, well, I was there for Mueller and then Director Comey. And under Comey, we needed change, right? Something had really gone astray there. And we really needed change. Ray came in and really, I don't think, made a big difference. And I think Kash Patel has some really good ideas about what needs to be done, what change needs to come. But I think we also need to be aware of how do we embrace the culture of the Bureau and going forward, and also what are the priorities? How do we get around those priorities so that the men and women are encouraged every day to fight the good fight? Remember, these are men and women that are not getting paid a lot of money, that work tirelessly on all sorts of tough cases. But I think, Kash has done a good job. You think about the percentages as far as homicide nationally has come way down, historic from the 1960s. Sexual assault, way down. Robberies, way down. Things that we all care about. People walking down Main Street want less crime. I think those numbers have come down. We need to keep those in order and make sure we're pushing on those too. But we also need to get the organization ready for the next threats, the next level, whether it's Iranian terrorists that are here trying to get us, or cyber attacks, or how we might even help the Secret Service understand what their threats are, right? That big intelligence community. But I think he's doing a good job overall. No director is perfect, but I think so far I think the numbers have been really pretty impressionable.
We have, and I don't know if we'll ever get the full story, man. But my major critique, of course, has been the handling of the Epstein files. I feel like it was such an unnecessary black eye. The people who are implicated there were obviously all Democrats, and that really frustrated me with the misunderstanding of the ecosystem, which is like, and it's what we're talking about today, Ren. It's like the world of trust me, bro. It's good. Move along. We have the hotel secure. Trust me, bro. Move along. Don't ask questions. A Secret Service agent was shot. Don't ask questions. We're going to lock down all the evidence. Was it friendly fire? Trust us, bro. Move along. Like that was kind of like that's the old way of doing things. And that doesn't fly anymore. You have to show your work, and you do have to prove to the American taxpayer that like the billions of dollars that you spend is going to be in their service. And I just think that's the major frustration. And some of those high profile key failures is something that like needs to be fixed, because I want to be able to trust these institutions. I'm sure you do too, right? I think we have a better country when we do trust federal law enforcement and that people are being honest with us. It's just the decades and years of constant, ceaseless, endless lies. It's just got to stop,
Right. Democracy dies, as we know, without transparency, right? It dies in the shadows. And Epstein files, I mean, we're unindicted co-conspirators. What are we talking? Why are they not indicted? Like, in what planet do we think that this behavior, I don't care how powerful you are, I don't care what president or former king or former prince you are, under what world do we live in that we think that is okay? I've got 2 daughters. The Epstein files makes me furious. Like, the people are getting away. They're still within statute of limitations. They should be charged. Why are they not being charged? I'd love to know that, right? We need to know the truth. I get it. A lot of powerful people. I believe he was probably an asset used by lots of governments because he could blackmail a lot of people. And I get why that, but he's exposed. We know it's over. There's no more excuses. This is why there's a lack of trust. And when there's a lack of trust, then people who do see crime, who want to actually do the right thing and expose maybe a conspiracy or be a whistleblower, if they don't trust, guess what? They don't come forward, right? In all of my cases, having an insider is critical for success oftentimes. Getting someone who cooperates, who can give us the documents, tell us a story, tell us who actually did this, did that. When people don't feel they can trust their government to come forward and expose these issues, we are screwed. We are totally screwed.
That's a great point. That's a wonderful point. Yes, you're right. Like, you have to have people know that if they're going to put their lives and risk everything, they're not going to end up like Virginia Giuffre, right? And they're not going to end up, dead on a farm in Australia after getting hit by a bus in the outback, and doing videos from her hospital bed saying someone's going to kill me. And then it happens, and she tweets, "I'm not suicidal." You're going to really shut down whistleblowers if that's the end result to whistleblowers, So thank you. And it's not what we booked you to talk about, but I really appreciate your insights there. Everybody follow Ren. I hope that you come back to the show. It's great to have your insight from inside of the system. And you're clearly a patriot. You just want to see it change for the better, same as me. So thank you, Ren.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate the time.
God bless you. We are pro-life on this show. We want the lives of our president, his family, everybody who's serving in Washington, D.C. We want the lives of everyone. I had this conversation this weekend, actually. We were in New York for an event. I don't have favor. I want the lives of every American to be peaceful, to be lived out in the way that God intended. I don't want anybody to be harmed. That is my state. That is my status on political violence. I've lived through 3 Democrat presidencies in my life. That's 20 years of Democrat administrations. Never once, not even in my darkest heart of hearts, did I wish violence upon them, right? That's something you shouldn't have as a Christian. You should want peace. Blessed are the peacemakers. You should want everyone to have this shot at life. That's why we partner with Preborn. Preborn is, well, constitutional, in fact. Not only is it moral and justifiable by the Gospels. In fact, I read last night, reading through Matthew. Christ, let the children come unto me. If you're not like these children, you will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. These are the children of God. The murder of those children through the demonic ritual sacrifice of abortion is the most evil thing possibly happening in our society right now. It's hard to really come up with something worse. Preborn fights back. And I refuse to be silent. I'm asking you to join me. Preborn celebrates 20 years of saving unborn babies. There's a moment right now that you can save countless lives for years to come. Preborn's goal is simple and urgent. Place an ultrasound machine in every single clinic across America that needs one. An ultrasound machine, of course, takes the lies of the left and the demons and shows the mother the beautiful life inside of her. It changes hearts, ladies and gentlemen. If you have the means, would you consider a tax-deductible gift of $15,000 to help save countless lives? To donate, dial pound 250 or say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. Say the keyword baby. These are the kind of gifts, small or big, that can lead to more life in this country. Preborn.com/Benny. That's preborn.com/Benny. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens next on this front. Obviously, this is going to be a big story for the rest of the week. ALX. I want to play President Trump's reaction last night on 60 Minutes. Trump went off and got very frustrated with a 60 Minutes report. I don't know why they invite these people. Like, I've been asking the administration, why bring in 60 Minutes? You know, why bring them in on this? You know what you're going to get. Why not bring us? Why not bring our show? Why not bring our stream? Like, bring us in. We have as many subscribers, right? As 60 Minutes. And unlike 60 Minutes, which is atrophying and collapsing, our channels are actually growing. And things are going great. Praise God. So bring us in. But instead they bring in these propagandists, and Trump got pissed at them. So here we go.
Manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, you know, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, you know, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and
these are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
the
other thing in the manifesto that
Trump goes off. Kash Patel this morning on the security breakdown. I feel like it's critical to play you the breaking news here. This is, we haven't covered this yet on the show, and 60 Minutes ran last night.
They did a great job on the ground, but they remain reactive. The proactive approach is still under great scrutiny. The President of the United States is averaging an assassination attempt once a year, and there's still protocols that still. So who's going to do the investigating of the procedures? Secret Service can't investigate themselves because there's still people in leadership at the Secret Service that were responsible for Butler. How does that happen? It was a failure.
Right. I can't speak to Butler, and I agree it was a total failure. Absolutely. But I have full confidence in Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. He oversees the United States Secret Service. I've talked to him repeatedly over the weekend, and I've spoken with him and said, whatever you need from the FBI, whatever we can assist in, and however we can better prepare to protect our protectees going forward with the United States Secret Service, this FBI stands ready to do, and we're going to improve that process under Mark Wayne's leadership and oversight of the Secret Service.
Mr. Director, what about the mags? There was only one mag that people had to walk through. That's the one we saw where he's running through. Any chance going forward we can put another one outside, maybe two of them outside, sweep the entire hotel if we're in this situation again?
Look, that's a great question, and I think we are going to do it entirely differently. You heard the president say on Saturday night that we're going to do this again in short order, maybe in 30 days or so, and we're going to be ready for that. The security posture, I imagine, is going to be completely different. I'll be working with the White House, with the Department of Homeland Security, the Secret Service, the Metropolitan Police Department. The FBI will be fully resourced for that event to assist in the security, and we will provide our input. That's the great thing about having this law enforcement team. I can call Mark Wayne and the White House and the interagency and say, hey, we got to do a couple of things differently. And we're already talking about it. And that's the good thing. And we're going to be better postured for the next event.
So Jason Pack in the Wall Street Journal today, former FBI agent, offered this. They said that the Secret Service built a perimeter to stop an army, but they were beat by a room key because the guy checked in the day before and he wasn't shouldn't have been part of the whole event. What do you say to that?
Again, it's one of those details that we will provide to you extensively in relation to where he was staying, what was found inside where he was staying, and any other materials that were collected to include laptops and cell phones. But this was a matter that needs to be heavily scrutinized because it almost took the lives of dozens, if not hundreds of people, but for the quick reaction of our law enforcement. And we're going to be talking about how we improve the security, not just for this event, but for all events going forward. We're going to learn from this one, and we're going to utilize President Trump's leadership and backing of the Blue and law enforcement and work with DHS to ensure our cabinet, our protectees, and the American civilian population is as best protected as possible.
I hate that answer. I hate it. We're just going to learn from it. We're just going to learn from it. We're going to learn from it. How many learning circumstances do we have to have? This is, in moments like this, you should be calling for the burning of the ships. You're calling for like the torching of every career that had a hand in these security failures. You should be calling for brand new leadership at the Secret Service. You should be calling for absolute and total end-to-end reconstruction of the entire agency from the ground up. Look at this, Daily Beast. I slept next door to the assassin at the Washington Hilton. It was a complete fiasco. I was there next to the assassin. Hilton room 10235. This dude just says, yo, I checked in the day of. No security sweep, no security, nothing. I was someone, I could have been anything. I could have done anything. Here they are outside of the actual hotel room. Here's the photos of them. Like the shooter shared a room, like was right next door to me. And nothing. Yeah, this is not like it's a learning experience. It was right there, Klein. The hallway shot. Here it is. This is him showing like that he had the hotel room next to the shooter. It's just a learning experience. No, that's not the right answer. The right answer is we're going to burn everything down to the studs. We're never going to allow this to happen. We're humiliated. We're going to fix this. People are getting fired. People are going to lose their jobs. This could have been so much worse. Praise God it wasn't, but luck isn't a strategy. That's the right response. So, yeah, I'm frustrating. I want my president to be alive. I have many friends and people were close with Stephen and Katie Miller. It was hard to see the images of them getting swept out of the event and taken to safety. You know, Katie Miller's like 9 months pregnant. Caroline Levitt was on stage. She's 9 months pregnant. And this is the image here. This is what a real man does and looks like, though. Stephen Miller protecting his wife. Pete Hegseth protecting his wife, standing there on guard. It's something that I think at the very least is a tribute to masculine energy and dignity in moments like this. And Pete Hegseth was pissed, man. You could tell. I'm pissed. We were traveling as well during that weekend. We were up in New York for the Metropolitan Republican Gala. It's awesome to spend some time with Rudy. Do a Kayleigh McEnany hit that morning, and then this happens. This blew up, a few hours later. It's nuts. Anyway, we're thankful. We're very thankful that at least everyone was safe and nobody was harmed. It could have been much, much worse. Ladies and gentlemen, when we travel, we're using our Patriot Mobile devices. Our Patriot Mobile devices keep us locked and connected. On the road, we'll be in Texas later this week for a big America 250 rally. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. ALX, if you have the promo for that, I'd love to pop it up. America is about to celebrate its 250th anniversary, and I believe the direction of this country is being decided right now. Culture, the economy. That's why you should support a Christian conservative wireless provider like Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. Here's a good piece of breaking news for your white pill of the day. You ready, Klein? Better be ready. Let's go, baby. Our white pill. We're going to try and lead the show with these. We're going to try and lead the show with that every single day because I'm sick. I'm sick of people. I'm sick of all the doomerism. I really am. We had a fight. It's not better that Kamala Harris wasn't elected president. Like there's an idea out there like, oh, maybe Kamala should have won. Like it's insane. If the people you're listening to are saying that Trump shouldn't be president and that like it would have been better under Kamala Harris, you got to log off. Republicans are fighting. The Supreme Court just handed Republicans a massive win. ALX, you got that? Supreme Court handed Republicans a monster win here at the course. Klein, you can go to my screen. I got it. Here we go. And Ron DeSantis is also handing Republicans a monster win. Let's go 1 and 2 for our white pill of the day. Supreme Court hands Republicans a redistricting victory, striking down a lower court block on the Texas congressional map. They said, no, we're not going to tell the states how to redistrict. That's correct. Ladies and gentlemen, the state courts should do that. We covered on Friday how Virginia Supreme Court will most likely strike down the rigged map. And now Ron DeSantis has proposed this new map. You're going to F around, you'll find out, baby. Ron DeSantis proposed this new map of Florida that is effectively a 424 from a 20-8 district map to a 424. This is Florida fighting back. This adds 4 new congressional seats to the fine state where we are broadcasting today, and we're very proud of. So let's do 3 cheers for Ron DeSantis here. This is fighting fire with fire, but DeSantis is doing it legally in Virginia. They did it illegally, so we hope that it collapses. We hope that collapses down in the courts. We'll be following that very closely. Will Kamala Harris announce a 2028 run for president by June 30th? I don't think so. This is what the markets are saying. There is definitely a chance. There's a 10% chance. But what we believe is going to happen is that the midterms are going to happen, and then we're going to get 8 people announcing they're running for president right after the midterms. Like the day after, we're going to get multiple sequential announcements. Boom, boom, boom. That I'm running for president. It's going to happen. Midterms, we're going to enter the presidential election cycle season almost instantly in 6 months. So we have 6 months to go before it's the 2028 cycle. What will happen with J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, I'm not sure. There's a lot of reports out this weekend, something that I was really looking forward to covering until there was an assassination attempt on our president, of, how much Marco Rubio has risen in the ranks. What do you think about that, chat? What do you think? Do you think that it's Marco or do you think that it's JD now? I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to play favorites here. I'm a big fan of both. I know both. We've done interviews with both. And I think that a lot of this is really going to depend entirely on President Trump. Is President Trump going to endorse? Well, goodness, not a smart idea to fight that endorsement. That hasn't ended up well. But what do you think, chat? Here, let's do a couple of chats here. Oh, can we do the in the chat? Let's go in the chat. All right. Let me know. Are you Team Marco or Team JD? Right now, the polls are showing that Marco and JD are at effective parity when it comes to who the Republican Party wants as their candidate in 2028. Okay, here we go in the chat. So Guyan Johnson, watching on YouTube. What up? What up, chat? Says Ruby. Is there somebody named Ruby? Is it Rubio? Yeah, okay. Is that the nickname? Some people are saying Marco. A lot of Marcos, actually. Goodness gracious. Marco. Phil says Marco. We have, I am happy we have a couple of favorites. Says I Can Wolf 4324. I don't trust Vance, says Donna Malden. He can pull in the Spanish vote. I love Marco, says Mikhail S. Blair from Rumble. Vance Trump 2028, saying Trump could run as vice president, which he could. Rubio with J.D. Vance. Both, says Jimmy Solomon. By the way, this comment came from Diane Stefan 7004. JD hasn't done anything impressive, says the big fish. And good morning from Nebraska, from Todd Brooks. Thanks, Todd. Good morning to you, dude. Let's go ahead and look at some of this analysis from the chat. From the Daily Pudding, 6015. For me, Marco Rubio, he has a greater chance at some crossover votes. Many people are saying that maybe Marco could pull in the Spanish vote. I'm leaning Rubio, says Kelly Eva. Tucker said he should have voted for Kamala. That is, I mean, there are a number of podcasters that I'm referencing here, and I think that's legitimately insane. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's indefensible, actually, to say that the country would be better with open borders. That somehow, of course, we'd still be at war. Kamala Harris brought us the war in Ukraine and multiple other concurrent wars, the wars in Gaza. There'd still be war. I don't really like the war in Iran. But to say that we'd be better with AOC as FBI director, right? And Letitia James in charge of the DOJ and all of us in prison, I think that's insane. They would have put me in prison, right? For sharing a meme. They already did that. Marco, I'm sorry. No, done with the tangents. Marco Rubio, says Lisa. Let's jump on down, okay? Because this is very interesting. I'm actually quite interested in this ALX. I don't know why we stopped doing a poll. I want to do a poll every single day. This should be our poll in the chat. Marco or JD? Let's see. Okay, so here's Jeannie Ottoman saying, I love my governor. I think she's talking about Ron DeSantis, who just did this. This is the Ron DeSantis map. So you're right, Jeannie. You're exactly right. Marco, I'm just going to go here real quick. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm not going to read usernames. I'm just going to go real quick. Your username will be up on the screen. We're going to do more. Vance Rubio will run. I think they both will run. Will they run as a ticket? I'm not sure, man. Kamala AOC might run. That's exactly, you're right. That'll be the ticket the left probably puts up. I'm voting for We the People. Cool. JD all day. Marco Rubio for replacing Thune now. All right, well. Maybe J.D. Vance would be president of the Senate, right? Marco J.D. as a ticket. J.D. Hegseth. This is interesting. This is from Ramsey C1911. J.D. Hegseth. Hegseth obviously has a ton of love. A ton of love. J.D. all day. That's very interesting. I haven't heard Hegseth actually floated in there. What do you guys think of Hegseth? Rubio, here's a comment from Rumble, from Leestat from Rumble. Rubio has grown children. I don't know if having younger children will be good for President Vance. He has more important things to look after. I tell you what, man, I got a bunch of young kids, and I want more. And I don't know. It is a full-time job. Every parent knows this. Like it's tough. It'd be tough to be president with young kids. It really would be. Ron DeSantis. People saying Ron DeSantis for president. Okay, here's a comment for Ron DeSantis to run. You know, a lot of people saying Ron DeSantis might be joining the Trump administration. JD and Don Jr. as VP. Okay, that'd be like leaning in hard, right? JD all day. Boy, it seems kind of split in the chat. Is it split? Is it kind of split? Producers, tell me, does there seem to be a strong sentiment one way or the other? From what I'm seeing, it's split. You got some no Vance, okay? No Vance. Marco is way more aggressive than JD. We need a bolder move and a more radical Republican. So people saying that Marco Rubio is more radical and in a good way. Vance Rubio all the way. Comment from Rumble. Thank you so much. JD and Marco as VP. I think a lot of people thought that's what it was going to be, but you know, things change. JD with Rubio. And then we got a classic FJB. So thank you for the FJB. I missed the old FJBs. Come on. Marco Rubio for president. Benny, president. Trump, VP. Okay. Don't think so. Don't think so. I won't rule out running for office one of these days, but I am having way too much fun doing this every single day. Vance Rubio ticket, then Rubio DeSantis. What they say. JD, what about you, run, Benny? Sure, maybe one of these days. Not for president. I would like to run. This is where I live in Tampa. Maybe mayor of Tampa, right? Run for mayor, Mr. Mayor. Rubio and Gill. That's great. Brandon Gill joining the program soon this week. Rubio with Vice President J.D. Vance. So people flipped it. I'm for either one. I'm voting on either. Thank you very much for your comment. And then Darkones says Vance all the way. He'll bring the younger votes. Rubio is anti-gun. There's lots of comments here. So I don't know. I'm checking in with my producer. Is there a sentiment, Jerry? So like is there like a solid sentiment in the actual chat? Am I because I can only see them as they come in, as they roll in live, and as you can see, we get a lot of comments. It's pretty split. Klein is saying that it's potentially there's a slight edge on Rubio in the chat. That's interesting. Then Vance, but ALX is saying it's pretty split. Jerry says, I'm non-binary. That's what Jerry says. Okay. Thank you for your contributions, Jerry, to the chat in this important polling moment. We appreciate it. And Jamie has actually provided Marco Rubio propaganda posters. Why not pop that up? Okay. Vance Miller, probably Rubio or Vance. And this is what our graphic designer is already making on the program. Marco Mania. Okay. Oh, I like this one. Uh-oh. Look at this. Now, okay. Well, now y'all changed up the game. Now everyone's changed up the game. Tulsi is VP. Now I got a bunch of people saying Tulsi is VP. This comment from X. Thank you to our X audience, for those who watch on X. And to our Facebook audience right here. Edwin Marshall Davidson is watching from Facebook. Ron DeSantis is too good to be under Trump. So saying that Ron DeSantis should run is this an endorsement of Ron DeSantis in 2028? JD Vance equals love. Oh, and maybe we should end on this one. I'm sorry I can't get to everyone's comment. We need a debate, says Kelly Eva. You know what? I'd be down. I've loved those debates. I love those debates. Who would like a debate stage with Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Tulsi Gabbard? Go for it. RFK? I don't know. Oh, yes. And Jerry for president. Here we go. Jerry for president. All right. So everyone's saying, and here we go. This one's kind of new. There's like now suddenly there's a bunch of people in the chat calling for Tulsi, and then Big Balls 2028. There you go. ALX is friends with Big Balls. I actually met him at the White House. Edward Corstantine is his name. Nice kid. All right. We'll see. But actually, I'm noticing a bunch of people saying that I'm noting probably a slight edge for Marco here. And then noticing a bunch of people saying Tulsi. See this? Rubio Tulsi ticket. Another comment from X. Thank you, Avi, for watching. All right. I guess we'll see. Elon Musk for president 2028. Then we'll end up this one. Sadly, Elon Musk was not born in America, therefore cannot be president. Of course, nobody who's not born in America should be able to serve in any federal office, as far as I'm concerned. You shouldn't be allowed to be a judge. You shouldn't be allowed to lord over us if you're not actually a native-born American citizen. I truly, fundamentally believe that. And if you have dual citizenship, you should give up your right to run for office as well, right? You should go down with the ship, meaning this should be your only home, and you're the only place that you live, and the only place that you have allegiance to and loyalty to. And that's just a matter of fact. And I love a bunch of other countries and peoples from other countries, and we've done a lot of travel. But I think we have a real huge problem with the Ilhan Omars, frankly, in our Congress. Ilhan Omar was campaigning with the president of Somalia, and the president of Somalia said, she's not an American congresswoman, she's the congresswoman of Somalia. That's what he said. He said it in the Somali language. It's particularly hideous sounding Star Wars language. And it's disgusting. I hated seeing it. It made my blood boil. It makes me very upset. It should all be banned. Okay, interesting. A lot of Tulsi love now, and a lot of Tulsi love now, and a lot of comments. It's funny. Yeah, really funny, guys. Really funny, chat. Chat, are you pro Rubio or JD or something else? Some people Hegseth, some people Tulsi. I guess we'll see. Know this, that we'll be locked in for the next 6 months. We want to win the midterms. We can win the midterms. And then we're going to position directly into what you want for 2028. And we can fight it out in the chat, and we can love our country and love each other and fight together and win. And that is exactly what we're going to do. How are we going to win? With our verse of the day, let's rock and roll from Proverbs. Many are the plans of the human heart, but it is the decision of the Lord that endures. Proverbs 19:21. Isn't that true? You all have decisions in your heart as who you want in 2028. God is at our side. And as God is my witness, he's not done with America yet. So keep marching with us. On to victory. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
If you come at the king, you better get in line. Stand there shaking, waiting for your turn. The media clouds on for the attack, but I stand 6 feet above the ground, because you can't keep a good man down. Come on, take your best shot. Pump my fist, give me what you got. You can't keep a good man down. Come on, take me to my grave. I'll rise again and again and say, you can't keep a good man down. No! You can't keep the good man down. You can't keep a good man down.
In America, we don't worship government.
And you can't keep a good man down. And you can't keep a good man down.
We worship God.
Come on, take your best shot. Pump my fist, give me what you got. You can't keep a good man down. Come on, take me to my grave. I'll rise again and again and say, you can't keep a good man down. No! Ready, so where the truth gon' be? Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, but Benny shows the storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salt in all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.